Peace be with you, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Trevor. Very grateful to have you here. And today's video, I've got 10 hidden gem fragrances for the autumn season. So without further ado, I'm going to get started right away with this one right here. Dark Suede from Hawthorne. And this is a really nice, fruity, boozy suede style fragrance. It's got this almost fuzzy style quality to the leather in here. A really nice overtone of some, I think, blood orange and then a slight boozy quality going on. Reminds me a little bit of a more masculine take on something like Velvet Orchid from Van Cleef& Arpels, which I found a little bit floral and effeminate, while this one comes in and does a really great job of being dark, a little bit more brooding, but very smooth, unique. I think this is a seasonal exclusive, so I'm not entirely sure how easy this one will be to come by, but you can generally find this 50 ml for under $50, and especially if you get a coupon going on with them. And I can't remember whether it was Olivier Guillotine or Rodriguez Flores Rue who worked on this one, but they do use high quality in-house perfumers over at Hawthorne, and this is one of the highest quality creations that I've tried from them. Really great little hidden gem indie house, and definitely worth checking this one out for the upcoming fall season. Next, the next one we have here is also from an indie brand. This one is an Etsy seller, so I'm not sure how difficult this one will be to come by outside of the US. It's also very expensive. They only offer 15 mLs for $50 for their full execution of an oil. They do have a body mist that I think comes in a 60 ml that is a lot more affordable in the cheapy range. I haven't tried the body mists, however, but this is a really amazing, nice, lemony, pound cake style, honeysuckle floral, unique, beautiful fragrance for that early part of the autumn season, where that little bit of a lemon zest coming in over the top of a baked good style sweetness is perfect for the early autumn in the September season. This is Hocus Pocus. So there's a lot of depth in here and a really nice degree of sweetness also that will carry it through into the nice period of the season where the leaves are changing. I think that nice yellow, golden, orange hue that the leaves give off at this time of the year is going to go great with the overall tonality that this fragrance gives off. And like I said, it's like a lemon baked good. Reminds me a little bit of if you've ever gone to a pumpkin patch or some type of autumnal corn maze, something like that, where they've got like a farm, and at the entrance there's maybe some coffee and donuts and just a little bit of a baked good sale going on before you go into the pumpkin patch or the corn maze. This kind of reminds me of those little venues that they have where they're offering all of those autumnal snacks. And this is just a really great fragrance, perfectly unisex as well. So if you wanted to get it as a gift, or just if you're a woman watching this and wanted to pick this up for yourself, even though I know the stats show that mostly men in their 30s are watching, this is a really nice little hidden gem I got turned on to by quick fragrance reviews. Really high quality stuff, and definitely worth checking them out. I've also tried one other fragrance from them. They have a Zodiac line. I bought my wife the Pisces from Lovesick Witchery, and that one was also very, very good. It's looking forward to trying more from the house. Next fragrance on this list here, this is Ehsas Khas from Arabian Oud, and this is basically your ticket out if you missed picking up Boss Bottled Intense Eau de Parfum before it got discontinued. This basically goes into the exact same DNA, but is a little bit more geranium forward, so it has this cool, cold, rosy style opening that's a very loud. This is an extremely well performing fragrance in my opinion. It lasts throughout a couple showers and stays on your skin. Really huge, monstrous projection, longevity, and just has that beautiful autumnal apple pie vibe going on. I would say that the Boss Bottled Intense is a little bit more spicy and textured. I think there's a clove note in there that isn't in here, so that one gets a little bit more festive. But this one is a really high quality offering you can usually find for under $100 on Joma Shop. Definitely worth checking this one out. This is Ehsas Khas from Arabian Oud. The next one we have got turned on to this one by Joel from Joel's Matrix. He's often in the comment section and in the live streams. Really one of my favorite people in the community that doesn't have a YouTube presence. And this is 8 and Bob Egypt. So I think Dedrick Hicks is the only other YouTuber that I've really seen mention this one. I think he might have gotten turned on to this one by Joel as well. But this is a really beautiful, bright, citric forward barbershop style fragrance that gets this very creamy, almost vanillic style shaving foam going on. So it's a perfect juxtaposition for the autumn season because it has a bright citric element going on and it's very fresh, but it also has this very creamy, succulent, and seductive sort of vanilla shaving foam that makes it a little bit more ambery than any of the other barbershop fragrances that I've gotten my nose on. Really beautiful stuff. And again, if you can find this on Joma Shop, they generally have these in for under the $100 price point, and I think it is an absolute steal of a deal for the juice that's in here. One of my favorites for the autumn season. A little bit biased because I do enjoy barbershop fragrances quite a bit, but okay, next one, another one that if you can catch it at Joma Shop, it is well worth the money. I think MSRP, this is going for over $600 for a 75 ml. I got mine for right around $250 from Joma Shop, but I recently saw testers, which I think come without a cap, but those were going for like $179, $180, and I think that is a great deal for this fragrance. Very high quality niche fragrance. Not well known, although it is a flanker of a popular fragrance. This is African Rose from Memo Paris. So it adds a really high quality sort of jammy rose note to the African leather DNA. And this is one of my favorite rose fragrances for the autumn season. It's just so well done, nice, powdery, spicy, heavy on the cardamom, and then just very succulent, elegant rose fragrance going on underneath of that well-known and highly complimented cardamom-based leather sort of vibe that the original African leather gives off. This is definitely one worth checking out. See if you can get a sample because it's, you know, it is probably the most expensive one on the list. At least MSRP wise. There is one more that's more expensive in terms of what it's available at the discounters right now. But this is definitely a hidden gem that I think more people need to be getting their nose on and talking about. Okay, next one. Another one that sadly doesn't really pop up at the discounters anymore. So I bought mine full MSRP from Hermes's website for like $180. No regrets there. I think this is one of my, possibly in my top 10 of all time. Beautiful fragrance, nice sort of licorice, leathery, dusty vibe going on. It's got a slight fruitiness to the leather as well. Reminds me a little bit of Thanksgiving season because of that dry, fruity quality. Something that you would maybe find on a charcuterie board a little bit, but it kind of evokes a little bit more of a dusty attic catcher's mitt somewhat with some licorice going on underneath that. This is Bel Ami Vetiver from Hermes. Got turned on to this one from Ramsey. Shout out to him. This is really grateful that he pointed this one out. It's just such a class act, and Hermes really is one of the most classy fragrance houses in my opinion, and this is one of the better offerings that I've tried from them, if not the best. There's quite a few from their Hermanescence line, which is their like upper level, sort of analogous to the Tuxedo and Baby Cats of YSL. This one is not from that line, but it sadly isn't really at the discounters, but well worth the price in my opinion. Definitely sample it if you can, because I don't know if you're going to be as stoked about this as I was. It's got a little bit more of a traditional scent profile, but something that I really think is quite a hidden gem for the autumn season. Okay, I think we might be just about halfway through here. We've got 7 more. This is from the House of Lalique, and again, if you can catch it at Joma Shop, I bought mine for $89 from them. I think they still have it at places like Fragrance X, Fragrance Net for right around $115. Might be a little bit overpriced at that point. I would be more comfortable paying under $100 for this, but it's a really high quality, well executed sort of powdery coffee, vanillic, spicy fragrance. It goes into a similar direction as Vanille Havane from Les Indemodables or Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford. It's a little bit more flat than those fragrances, a little bit more one-dimensional, but still keeps that high quality. And this is from Lalique's upper line. This is Or Intemporal. Definitely a hidden gem. It's been out for a long time, but the MSRP on these is like $400. But recently have been popping up at the discounters for that like $100 range, and I think it's well worth the price at that point. Really great presentation on this one as well. And like I said, just it has a really nice, almost unisex style, sweet, spicy coffee and chocolatey vanilla sensation going on. Perfect for the autumn season because of that dry airiness that it has in terms of its textural feel, and overall just a really hidden gem fragrance, especially if you can get it for under $100. Next one, this is somewhat of a clone of Dior Homme Original, which that fragrance is like, I don't know why it's going for like $160. It's almost as expensive as Dior Homme Parfum anymore. Maybe that's because it's been removed from the American markets, just like Dior Homme Parfum was. So sadly, that one, I still think that one might be worth that price, although it's very disheartening to see it going for so expensive when they used to be going for 100 or less not so long ago, maybe just last autumn. But this is a great replacement, in my opinion. You can definitely find this one for under $100. This is the Loewe 001 Man, and it's a little bit more of a citrus lemon forward opening over the top of that kind of nice powdery, leathery, irisy sort of take that Dior Homme offers. I don't think there's any iris note listed in this fragrance, but you still get that sort of powdery, floral, sweet, waxy sensation going on in here. And like I said, it's a little bit more of a citric forward, bright take on the Dior Homme DNA, and definitely a hidden gem worth checking out for this autumn season, especially for the affordable price that this one comes in at. Okay, next, this is one of the few cheapies on this list. Older bottle style I have. They recently re-released it. The old bottles only came in 75 ml, so the re-release actually has a 100 ml bottle, and you can get those for, I believe, under $40 from Zara. This is Leather Jardin, and it's definitely more of an old school style take on a fragrance. It has this almost 60s brown leather vibe going on with a really beautiful, zesty, sparkly grapefruit, a classy rose, and a exceptionally well done leather. One of my favorite leather fragrances in my collection, point blank, period. It's got this bright, sparkly quality from that grapefruit and a little bit of a dewy rose, but it's still like the leather in here is very dense, heavy, and dusty, and so I think it's still better suited for more of the colder aspects of the autumn season, despite having that sparkly grapefruit. I think it goes great in those days where it's kind of chilly outside, but the sun is still out and beating, and matches perfectly with that changing color of the leaves into that golden brown orange hue. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. One of my favorites in this hidden gem list here, especially for the price. That's Leather Jardin from Zara. Okay, this one is the most expensive one on the list. Cannot find it at discounters. You have to get it at the fragrance boutique directly from the distributor. Sometimes this house shows up on fragrancebuy.ca, but very rarely and only in the old bottle styles. The house is Aedes de Venustus. This is Iris Nazarena, and this is kind of a nice, woody, latexy, sparkly, silvery iris. A little bit monotone, flat in some degree, but it does develop and change a little bit over time. Gets from sort of that powdery iris opening with this sparkle going on, and gets into this more dry, woody, foresty, almost outdoorsy, woodsy vibe. Very elegant and tranquil. It just reminds me of walking into like an open grove in a forest in the autumn season. I think it's great for the transitional periods in general. I think I wore this one quite a few times in the spring, but it has a certain dryness to it that I think is more apt for the autumn season. Definitely reminds me of like a fallen over tree that's turned into a log to some degree, with again, that sparkly sensation. That definitely an iris that you're not used to as well. It's got this more green feel to it, very clean and soapy, and it lacks a lot of that waxy textural feel, I would say, and not sweet at all, really. It's just very dry and austere to some extent, but also elegant, and like I said, there's a sparkly quality to it that just makes this almost like magical. Let's see, we have 3 more fragrances on the list. This is another one that is, I think, in the past has been lauded as a fall staple to some degree, but has fallen off because I think it's been discontinued. But they recently restocked the 100 mLs and the 50 mLs in case those get sold out at Fragrance Net. This is Costume National Homme Eau de Parfum. Now, the Parfum, I think, is still pretty readily available. I think that one is a little bit dense, though. It's not exactly my cup of tea and is a little bit more mature than this. And this is already a little bit of a mature fragrance. But if you're familiar with Ben Sherman's Icon, which was somewhat of a rack store gem that showed up last season, or Chanel Egoiste, not Platinum Egoiste, but the Black Cat version. This one runs in the same vein as those two fragrances, but has a lot more of this festive quality to it. The spices in here lend themselves a lot more to that sort of holiday season, ranging from Halloween, Thanksgiving, all the way to Christmas, and is just a well-executed, beautiful fragrance in that sort of clove, cinnamon, sweetness that's not exactly overly sweet in a bubblegum vanilla tonka way, but is accentuated in respect to the cinnamon style cloves sort of sweetness that you get from the aroma, but it has a bitter taste to it. Very, very awesome stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to wearing this one here throughout that festive season, and really glad that they were able to restock it, because I picked mine up recently from Fragrance Net, and definitely I always recommend sampling if you can, but this is one that I would say is worth having on your radar, especially from the designer realm for the autumn season. We have two more. I think these are more or less designer fragrances. This one's been discontinued, but you can still find it at the discounters for under $100 right now. One of my, if not my favorite coffee scent, this is Robert Graham Valor. Coffee, amber, and sage are the listed notes. Definitely has that aromatic quality from the sage that sort of saves it from being an overly sweet, flat, linear gourmand style fragrance. But the coffee is an exceptionally well done coffee. The amber is very gooey and sensual, and makes it a little bit more unique than something that like vanilla or tonka, and is just a beautiful designer fragrance. Sadly, sad to see it's been discontinued, but I highly recommend picking this one up, especially for the under $100 price point that it's been showing up at, and especially before it goes out of stock completely. Been repping this one on the channel for a while. I think I have a full review on it as well. It's worth checking that one out. And then this other one, the last one, I also have a full review on. This is Pour Homme de Caron Le Soir, and I prefer, this is very much in the same vein as Les Mâles Les Parfums, very nice, sweet iris vibe going on. But this one I think is a little bit more mature. It adds this woody oak quality that brings a textural smokiness to the fragrance that makes it a little bit more mysterious, and like I said, a little bit more grown up than the Les Mâles. And this one surprisingly is sort of in the cheapy range. You can get the 75 ml bottles for under $50, and this one right around the 125 for right around 55. And I think this is one of the best bang for your buck autumnal fragrances on the market. One of my favorite iris fragrances in general. It's got that lavender, which makes it similar to the Les Mâles, but that smoky oak vanilla going on in here just makes this that much more better than the aforementioned fragrance, and highly recommend checking out this hidden gem this autumn season. So those are my top 12 hidden gems for the fall 2024. Let me know in the comment section below if you've got any recommendations in this category. And as always, I appreciate you sticking with me to the end of the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.